Hey guys, welcome back to Tiger Drop Films, and today we're going to talk about how I would do the next Ultraman Fighting Evolution. I'm just going to throw out some of my ideas, my little bit of fan premise on how I would approach it, and please let me know in the comments below what you would do for Ultraman Fighting Evolution. What characters would you like to see? What kind of fights? What kind of game modes? You name it, let me know. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
The Ultraman Fighting Evolution series first began in 1998, developed by Banpresto Games, with its last game being released in 2006. Wow, 2006. So it's safe to say that the Ultraman fans are very hungry for a new fighting game, or even a new Ultraman game in general. While the Ultraman Fighting Evolution series was region locked to Japan and a few other Asian countries, being a US citizen, I've never played it myself, but I've watched plenty of gameplay online on YouTube by a certain fellow named Atsuki, so big shout out to Atsuki, he's great. So all this got me thinking, how would I approach a new update to the Fighting Evolution series? A new game, a whole new entry, how would I do it? So I thought of this title called Ultraman Fighting Evolution Chronicles, partly inspired by all the Chronicles series that Tsuburaya has created in recent years. To start this off, I just want to go ahead and list my list of characters for the game, my cast list. And I'm doing this because it's going to tie into every mission in the game and how, or at least why I think this cast could work for just a base game. This is not including DLC. That can be a topic a little bit later on in the video. First things first, the Ultras. We have the 6 Ultra Brothers, Ultraman, Ultra 7, Jack, Ace, Taro, and Zafi. Then we have Ultraman Leo, Tiga, Dyna, Gaia, Agul, Mebius, Zero, Ginga, Victory, X, Orb, Jeed, Belial, and Ultraman Z. So this is just the first batch of Ultras that are in the base game. Next we have the Kaiju and the Seijin. So I'm just going to go off by the list in the order I have. Gamora, Mimilar, Eleking, King Joe, Golza, Damaga, Gargorgon, Galactatron, Rockron, Ace Killer, Black King, King Saurus III, Kreloid, Balton, Knuckle, Magma, Jugless Juggler, Deathfacer, Raycubus, Mizunio Dragon, Sevenger, Zeton, Baraba, Ganku, and last, Killer Saurus. So keep in mind that, like, for the Ultramen, yes, they will have their forms if they have them. Like, of course, Tiga, Dyna, and Gaia are going to have their type change abilities or their supreme forms. And the later on guys, like a new generation from Ginga all the way to Ultraman Z in this case, yes, they are going to have their forms. And it's also going to tie into the system I thought of, where the gameplay is going to have finishers. As you see in the older games, you can hit like R1 when the time comes, and you can hit a different button combination from, say, if you're on PlayStation, X, square, triangle, and circle. And what I mean is, when you make that combination, you can use a different finisher. For instance, an Ultraman Specimen Ray, or an Eye Slugger, or something new and crazy. So I think with this game, since Ultramen have different forms nowadays, you could customize your finishers individually. Like, say, everybody has to have their Specimen Ray slot, but then in the other 3 slots we can have different abilities that people want. I think that could be a fun system, and it could give incentive to upgrade characters and customize, and as well as making the gameplay a little more dynamic and replayable. And this brings me to the upgrade system. I don't think there should be anything too insane because it's also a fighting game. I think for an upgrade system there should be something simple, like, say, a Yapul store, maybe, some kind of character that can give upgrades, or little things. It's nothing too crazy, you know. I don't think there should be any damage buffs or anything like that. Just little ways to change the fights up a little bit, and maybe in the store, in addition to upgrades, people can buy the new skins for characters. Like the original Ultraman can have his different suits from A, B, and C. Maybe you can throw in the Netflix suits for all the Ultra Brothers, something like that, you know? Or how the kaiju can have different designs, like Gamera can have his original appearance, his appearance in 80, Powered, Ultraman Max, and so on and so forth. In addition to having forms like Burst Gamora or even EX Gamora, stuff like that, you know, to change it up. It could be rewarding. And it could be fun to celebrate the history of the series, because this, after all, is called Fighting Evolution. And to elaborate more onto the gameplay, I would say keep it simple. Let it be a 1v1 game, like past Fighting Evolution titles. And as long as we make that core gameplay rich and fun and simple enough for kids to get onto it too, right? Because you gotta remember about them. I think you can really build something nice. And once that core gameplay is defined, you can have maybe a 2v2 mode somehow, or 2 against 1 like we see in Ultraman Fighting Evolution 3. Let's go ahead and get into how I would do with different game modes. So the first mode would be the campaign that I'm going to call Ultra Mode, and I think I'll put it up here so you guys can see it. So the first mode is Ultra Mode, which is campaign. I imagine it starting off the first level being the original Ultraman first episode where he fights Bimilar. I think that could be a nice throwback and an easy way for people to get into the gameplay. And it'll be about the story of this game, Chronicles. Just the game could maybe be Ultraman Zero, just telling the audience about past adventures like we'd seen in the Chronicles shows Subaraya has created. Something like that. That could be fun, accessible for new people, and a fun throwback for old fans alike. Let me continue. Next, we go through Ultra 7, where he fights Ella King, King Joe, and we could go into the Return of Ultraman of Jack from then on. Talk about the Black King and Knuckle episode like I did back in that one video. Go check that one out too. Then, you know, we move through each show, a little bit from Ace, and then Leo. You might be wondering, why did I leave out Taro? Well, since this game is focused on Chronicles, I think when we get to the new gen of Ginga onward, we can talk about Taro. Since Ultraman Taro was a kind of the figure for all the new gen, he was like the mentor, the commander, so to speak, you know, the overarching character. Next, the next mode is Champion of Justice. I thought of it as special bosses that are seen in the story, but you can fight them on a harder difficulty. Not Dark Souls, but pretty challenging in the context of the game. In this mode, you can invite a friend. You can, you know, 2 ultras against a really hard boss, and actually have some of these listed in the story. Or Gatanothor from Ultraman Tiga, Queen Monera from Ultraman Dyna, Zog and her 2 forms from Ultraman Gaia, Killer Source from the Ultraman Mebius and the Brothers movie, and this includes Killer Source Neo, so it's different from the one players are able to play as, which is the standard Killer Source, and Chimeribus, which is the big Belial form we see in Ultraman Geed. When it comes to Belial, I had a lot of trouble thinking about ways to include him without making the game too expensive. Because think about it. If we did Belial's first appearance, you would have to include that gigantic monster graveyard kaiju, which I think would put too much strain on any engine, especially for a first Ultraman game in the modern age. So yeah, Belial, he's great, but he always brings in some insane characters. Next we have Battle Mode, where a player picks one character and they face off against 5 consecutive enemies. Pretty simple, but I think any fighting game should have a quick tower mode, so to speak, where you just fight a couple of characters in a row. Then we got Versus Mode, a casual offline 2-player couch co-op of custom battles. You know, we all like to have fun at friends and siblings and whatnot, and it should be a mode that's easy to pick up and just have a nice brawl. So the next mode is a little ambitious. It's called Ultra Defense Force Mode, or Galaxy Defense Force Mode. It's multiplayer. I thought about, to reiterate what I said earlier, once you have the core gameplay established, you can start adding more players to it. I thought about maybe a 3v3 mode with 3 Ultras against 3 Kaiju or Seijin. And the way I thought about it is it's 3 battles going at once, so 3 1v1 battles, and they all start at the same time. And the last 3 that win would then fight each other, or something like that. Or maybe we can scrap that and just have a 3v3 mode that's simple, it's a fight. Or maybe the Ultras have to defend something. There's lots of ideas to be had here. And we could find a way to incorporate the color timer. And we have some fun ideas of that. Maybe one player gets to be the respective Ultraman and their unique strike team gets to enter the battle. Like say Ultraman Tiga, then Guts, or Mabius and Guys, or Z and Storage, something like that, you know. It could be some fun, and I think there's a unique perspective to be had if we include the strike teams and saving civilians from Kaiju. It could really amp up this game and put some perspective on how gigantic these characters really are. There could also be a tournament mode where you can have like a lobby of several players going to 1v1 matches and see who can rise up on the leaderboard, fun stuff like that. I had an idea for something called Discovery Mode, where you explore some kind of super production museum as a human. You can see like different bios or characters and kaiju and even weapons in the series, from the strike teams to vehicles and whatnot. I even thought about having for each Ultraman, you can read about their human host, the actors that played the host, and then the suit actors for Ultraman, voice actors, how many episodes are in a series, you know, notable battles, stuff like that could be fun. Like, think about the games where you could explore, like in Modern Warfare 2, the original, you could look at a museum of every character in the game. Or even the original Peter Jackson King Kong game. There's a museum mode in that, which is really nice. It's something simple and a fun touch. Then, of course, a training mode with a tutorial. You gotta have that, that's a given. So there's a lot more to talk about, but I just want to throw out some ideas for this game, because I know a lot of people have been wanting a Fighting Evolution game. So I guess I'll throw out some DLC ideas I had for this one. The Absolutians, you can either fight them or play as them, like Tartarus and Diablo. Or other DLC ideas, Ultraman Nexus with Mephisto and Galvaros. The Tri-Squad could be another DLC of Taiga, Puma, and Titus, which could be a good idea to have something new with Ultraman Taro in the story. For instance, Cosmos is another great character idea. We could do Max and let Shaun White come back and do something. I know he's the host of the recent shows. He's been a big help to the franchise. But I think it'd be awesome to get Shaun White to help narrate. And if we could have a big Kaiju DLC with Tyrant, Red King. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video was a little different from normal, but it was one that's been in the back of my mind, and I kind of really wanted to talk about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So yeah, let me know what you would like to see in a new Fighting Evolution game, or even any kind of new Ultraman game. It doesn't have to be Fighting Evolution. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I got more coming soon. Stay tuned and stay safe.